Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Danielle, aka Stitcherista, here on YouTube, and today is Tuesday, February 15th. Time for another update, right? Every day, 6 days a week. So yesterday, work day, not an easy day. I was done by 5:45, so at least I was able to, have a good dinner with Bill. He made steamed shrimp and baked potato. It was so good. And he had bought Valentine cupcakes at the store. So yeah, we had a good evening. And I was in bed by like 9:45. And it's probably the best sleep that I've gotten in a really long time. So that was good. Up at 7 o'clock, our job starts in about an hour. It's about 9:05 a.m. here, and I'm going to be working late. I'm going to be working today until about, I figure if the job does go all the way till 7 p.m. like they say, I'll be working till close to 8 o'clock. But like I said, at least I know this going in. It's much easier being used to it going in than finding out at 5 o'clock, oh, I'm going to be working another 3 hours. So that's what's happening. And it's about Bitcoin, which is very interesting. So I'm very curious as to what it will be about. So I have another editor helping us in the afternoon, which will alleviate, the exhaustion that we usually get by the end of a day. So that's going to be good, having a fourth person. I'll get some breathing room in the afternoon. And maybe they won't go till 7. That has happened. They give that as an expected end time. It doesn't always go that long. I don't know. We will see. The last job did, though, so I am thinking the previous transcript did. So it is what it is. All right, so I didn't do any stitching yesterday because after I was done work, and then we had dinner, and then we went to bed. So, but what I did this morning, and I think I'm going to start do this, I've started to set timers for myself on my phone. So I really like the watch, the Samsung Galaxy Watch. Still getting used to it. I've talked to my dad on it this morning, because you can answer phone calls. I've sent some text. I'm still getting used to it. It's nice not being tethered to my phone in the house, though. Being able to leave it and then still get notifications. I really love that part of it. But still learning about it. So I joined a Facebook group for the Galaxy Watch. So yeah, getting some little tidbits there. So this morning I got up and I actually am kind of reading 2 books. I'm still reading The Housekeeper, which, holy moly, I read a chapter of that. But I also started to read this, Harold Kushner, When All You've Ever Wanted Isn't Enough, The Search for a Life That Matters. I think it's going to be really good. I read a chapter today, so I'm going to try to read a chapter a day. Because a chapter is about, 10 or 12 pages. Yeah. I'll keep you updated on what he says. One thing that he said in there was no matter what someone says, how they want to conduct their life and live their life, or what is important in their life, pay attention to what they devote their time to, because that's really what they value as important. I like that. Yeah. So just that little tidbit. Okay, so this morning too, I said I didn't do any stitching. I got to have a stitching update. I haven't stitched in like 2 days. So I sat down and I set my timer for 15 minutes and I sat and I stitched, because if I don't do that, right, on days like today, I won't get any stitching done. So I just got a tiny bit done on the cup. And the cup is very variegated, so you're going to see lots of variegation. But yeah. It's coming along bit by bit. And luckily I'm stitching smalls now. But I think I'm going to have off on Monday, President's Day. Bill will probably be off also, I'm guessing. I don't know how much stitching I'll get done. But if it's decent, he'll be outside, so I'll be able to get some stitching done. And let me tell you, once it gets really nice out and he's on the boat, I'm going to be getting a lot of stitching done this summer. Yeah, for sure. Okay. So I do have purchases. So I purchased some needle minders from Tanya's Sewing Room. Tanya is an OG floss tuber. She was doing floss tube when I was doing floss tube. Another wonderful human being in the community. And I have bought needle minders from her a couple times, so I will link her shop down below. But I bought 4 M&M needle minders because I like the small ones. And then she sent me the snowflake for free. So Tanya, thank you so much. Aren't they cute? I have the purple one already. I think I have it up there. I have an M&M needle minder, but yeah, so I wanted pink, blue, peach, purple. So those came in the mail yesterday. And my auctions are doing pretty well. They end tomorrow. And I probably will not be able to, I must have hit something on my phone, on my watch. I will not be able to get those boxed up probably until Thursday. I do have a thing on my that says 2 days shipping time. Depends on how long tomorrow goes. So, yeah. Looking forward to winging that fabric off to its owner or owners. I think one person is the high bidder for a lot of them. So if this person wins multiple, I'm probably going to put them in a big box and ship them by UPS because then they can come pick it up. So, and I won't have to go out. Yeah. All right. So talking points for today. There are a couple. Let me go to Facebook because that is I belong to so many groups, but they serve a purpose. So saved. All right. Oh, I have to look at it on my iPad because there are some pictures I want to show you guys. So I know many of you miss when I've done the OMG moments. So what I'm going to start doing, why did I go there, is when I see an awesome piece of needlework, I'm just going to save it and it's going to be a talking point and I'll show you guys because there are 2 in here. So the first one is someone stitched the Monopoly board. I have that pattern. I bought it from Arlene through McKenna's website. And she stitched it on 18 count Aida. And she had 90% of it done and then realized she was off about 15 stitches in the middle word Monopoly. So she frogged it all and centered it and made the correction. It's absolutely stunning. I mean, look at that. Isn't that so, it looks so good. Yeah, someday, maybe when I retire, I will stitch that, right? I'm going to keep the pattern forever. That is one pattern that I will never get rid of. Okay, the next one is someone who finished a Heaven and Earth Designs. And you can't even tell this is stitching. So it took them 2 years to stitch it. Not even 2 years, because they started it in October of 2020 and finished it yesterday. Look at that! I stared at that for a good 2 minutes. It is so hard to believe that is stitching. I would love to see that in person. Are you kidding me right now? Yeah. People who dedicate years to a Heaven and Earth Designs, I give you props because that is surely not for me. And then probably maybe the last talking, no, we're going to do the talking point that I keep putting off. So Terry Montgomery, who is another fantastic human being in the community, and I'm looking forward to meeting her in person at the Floss Tube Retreat in New Jersey. She wants to pick my brain about my junk journal. Okay. Yeah, I'll sit and talk about anything, right? So she posted this on Facebook and she tagged me in it because she thought it would be something good for these talking points. So Albert Einstein once wrote on a blackboard, and I'm going to show you what he wrote. He once wrote, see all the numbers? He wrote all the numbers on the blackboard, right? And when you get down to the bottom, 9 times 10 is not 91, it's 90. He had all the other formulas correct, right? So suddenly, chaos erupts in the classroom because Einstein made a mistake. Obviously, the correct answer to 9 times 10 isn't 91, and all his students ridiculed him. Einstein waited for everyone to be silent and said, despite the fact that I analyzed 9 problems correctly, no one congratulated me. But when I made one mistake, everyone started laughing. This means that even if a person is successful, society will notice his slightest mistake and they'll like that. So don't let criticism destroy your dreams. The only person who never makes a mistake is someone who does nothing. And I have heard that sentiment before. You know, it's okay to fail. And, you know, we can all take that to heart. You know, you see people, what they've done in the past, maybe made poor choices. And even though they're making good choices now, you still remember or remind them of the choices they made those many, many years ago. So it's all advice that we can take to heart, right? To not let someone's mistake maybe overshadow or cloud how you feel about them. But yeah, and that happens all the time, especially in social media, right? Yeah, I just love that though, because yeah, even if a person is successful, society will notice his slightest mistake. Absolutely. And I think we're very critical of ourselves in that area too, where, you know, I may do 50 things right in a day, but the one thing that I've done wrong sticks in my brain and I can't stop thinking about it. That happens all the time. So, Terry, thank you so much for tagging me in that, because I love that. All right. So the biggest talking point, and now there's how many comments? There's 451 comments on the post. Someone says, this is a silly question, but why do so many people do whips? Which, if you don't know what a whip is, it's a work in progress. Why don't people just do one project and finish versus starting so many at one time? I'm not being mean or disrespectful. I'm just trying to understand. I'm reading your answers, and it sounds like because the projects are tedious and most stitchers need a break to prevent getting bored. I watch different people stitching channels. The stitcher will pull out about 10 different projects they have started or are presently working on, and I always wonder if they finish them. So the top comments were, someone says they have one on their scroll rod that's permanently set up in their living room, and they also have a bookmark series that they work on in bed. It's just a tiny little project to help them relax before bed. And someone said, I'm the opposite of most people here. I used to do multiple whips, but ended up getting frustrated at how little progress I was making, so I switched over to working on just one at a time. There are just a lot of people also that are process stitchers and not, you know, progress stitchers. So they don't mind having 50 whips. I know there's someone, the Stash Queen, used to have a whip for every day. She started a new project every day one year. So at the end of the year, she had 365 whips. For me, and it's all just personal preference. One person is not wrong because they have 500 whips. And one person is not wrong because they only work on one project. I have done this over time, and I have tried to do a whip a day and have a rotation. It never ever works. It never works. When I put down a project, 9 times out of 10, I never go back to it. And that's just the way that I work. There is nothing wrong with that. So learn. The key to take from that, learn yourself. There is not ever one way to do something, especially in needlework. So now, and I find that I am definitely a process person. I like seeing it come together, but I definitely like having those finishes, especially since I have all of those junk journals, and I feel like I haven't finished anything besides the 2 little ones I finished in a long, long time. So I love the idea of thinking I could have 60, 70, 80 finishes at the end of a year from doing smalls. Let's bring it, right? There are people that love to do the really big projects. There is a woman that goes to the retreats I go to a couple times a year. She has been working on the Stitch in Time bookshelf for like 3 years. She's almost done, by the way. But that is truly a labor of love. That is just not for me. Every time she comes in, when she first gets there, I run right over and like, let me see. Because it is just the most beautiful, astounding project probably I've ever seen. There are also people who are retired and have all the live long day to stitch. And they can get done those big projects in a short amount of time. I mean, look, years ago, 10 years ago, I was only stitching Mirabilias. Yeah, who is that person? I would stitch one after the other after the other. I stitched all of the Celtic ladies when I lived in a different city in my state, one after the other. They would each take me 3 to 4 months to stitch, and I stitched every day. I did all 4 of them in a row and never got burned out. But you're allowed to change, and I think people need to be more forgiving of themselves too. If you don't want to finish a project, okay, it's your choice. All right. So if you care to look at that post, it is in the group called Cross Stitch Unlimited on Facebook. There are 451 comments because a lot of people have a whole lot to say about that. Because there are so many topics that have been hot button topics in our community. The back of your work, which we've talked about that before, but there are a bunch. All right, so today's motivational story is called Shake Off Your Problems. One day, a farmer's donkey fell down into a well. The animal cried for hours as the farmer tried to figure out what to do. Finally, he decided the animal was old and the well needed to be covered up anyway, and it just wasn't worth it to retrieve the donkey. Wow! Okay, that seems heartless, but all right. He invited all his neighbors to come over and help him. They all grabbed a shovel and began to shovel dirt into the well. At first, the donkey realized what was happening and cried horribly. Then, just wait, the story gets good. To everyone's amazement, he quieted down. A few shovel loads later, the farmer finally looked down the well. He was astonished at what he saw. With each shovel of dirt that hit his back, the donkey was doing something amazing. He would shake it off and take a step up. So as they shoveled dirt and he shook it off, it put him a little higher in the well, right? So he just stepped on the dirt. As the farmer's neighbors continued to shovel dirt on top of the animal, he would shake it off and take a step up. Pretty soon, everyone was amazed as the donkey stepped up over the edge of the well and happily trotted off. You go, donkey, right? Yeah. You were like, no, he wanted to kill me. He wanted to bury me alive, essentially, which would have been horrible. I love that. So, the moral. Life is going to shovel dirt on you, all kinds of dirt. There are going to be things that we can never anticipate that are going to happen to us, right? The trick to getting out of the well is to shake it off and take a step up. Each of our troubles is a stepping stone. We can get out of the deepest wells just by not stopping and never giving up. Shake it off and take a step up. And I think about that with my weight loss because I've put back on about 10 pounds of what I'd lost. I'd lost 30. And it is just a constant battle. I've been battling this since I was 20 years old. And here's how I feel about it. Some days I don't even want to think about it. I don't want to think about it most of the time. I just want to be able to eat normally and not weigh 500 pounds, right? I feel like as long as I continue to keep trying, I'm never a failure in that regard. And that's with anything. All you can do literally is get up and try to be the best person that you can that day. Things are going to happen. You're not always going to do everything that you want or in the way that you want. At the end of the day, if I can put my head on my pillow and think this was a pretty okay day, I'm all right with that, right? Okay, so shake it off and take a step up. So remember the 4 simple rules to be happy. Some of these are easier said than done though. Number 1, free your heart from hatred, forgive. That's easier said than done. Number 2, free your mind from worries because most never happen. I love that one because, and Steve Harvey even says that a lot. Worrying, and Joyce Meyer likes to say, worrying about something that hasn't come to pass is like rocking in a chair. You're not getting anywhere, right? It's hard not to worry. It really is. But I just try to think, okay, what's going to happen is going to happen. And me worrying about it isn't changing the outcome. It's not. Number 3, live simply and appreciate what you have. Absolutely. Again, easier said than done sometimes in this culture of gimme, gimme, gimme. I want more, more, more. When I get what I want something else. Right? And number 4 says give more. I am a firm believer that you do get what you give out. You reap what you sow. Absolutely. Okay, so I really liked that story. Good for you, donkey. You go. Yeah? I'm all rooting for the underdog all the time. That's why I love movies like The Shawshank Redemption, because Tim Robbins' character, He was patient for 19 years and bided his time. Yeah. Love the underdog. Love underdog stories where they come out on top. Yeah. All right. Oh, I'm forgetting the most important part of the video. How are we going to continue to unfuck ourselves in 2022? Now, I'm going to tear this one off gently because I actually want to put this in my journal at some point when I stitch, maybe when I stitch the Viking piece after this coffee piece. Huh. Okay, I like this one. It says, live like no one's watching. They're not. Meaning, and think about this, when you do something and you're embarrassed or whatever, or, you know, you're going to wear an outfit that maybe isn't your normal, and you're like, oh, what are people going to think about me? They're not going to think anything, most likely, because they're too worried to think about themselves. Most people are very self-involved. They're more worried about what they're wearing and what they're doing than what you are. So, I love that one. That's another one I'm probably going to tear out and maybe put, yeah, they're not worried about you. They're worried about themselves. I'm pretty sure that's what that one means. That's how I take that. Okay. We're going to end here because my job starts in half an hour and I'll be able to get another cup of coffee and get myself acclimated to the day. As always, well, I hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday. As always, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section below and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.